Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're staying alive in these markets, which sounds very strange because if you take a look at altcoins, they're still up a lot over the last 2 weeks. But still, XRP specifically, which is what we'll talk about in this video, of course, and we'll focus mostly on the technicals because the technicals, in my eyes, are very interesting, but also very crucial. But we'll talk about some fundamentals as well, right? I want to say a little bit about some things I've seen circulating. Now, yesterday I got a good bounce right here from $3, which was nice. I have to be honest. I said yesterday morning that I opened the position on XRP. I sold that at entry, right? So I could have made a bit of a profit, but ultimately, especially when I compared XRP and Ethereum yesterday. There was just this massive, massive is maybe a bit of an overstatement, but there was this underperformance of XRP against Ethereum, and there's also this fundamental, I would call it FUD, right? But this fundamental bearish pressure coming from people talking about the XRP team and founders selling a lot of XRP. And look, I want to say two things about that. First of all, do I think it's bad? Yes, all right. I do think. If you go back over the last couple of years, the founders and Ripple themselves, well, Ripple themselves, I understand a little bit better, but there is evidence that there's been a huge amount of sales by the founding team of Ripple, and I think that's a bad look. Look, I understand. I would probably do the same, especially at this valuation, and they will probably say, well, we need the money to do better things, and we're putting it all in Bitcoin again. Or we're putting it all on XRP again. I understand, but still it's a bad look. And I think that's bearish. So that's the first thing I want to say about it. Second thing is, this has been happening for longer. All right. So do I think it really matters to the price? No, this was already known, nothing new. But okay, so those are my thoughts on the fundamentals. Now, technically, look, we've lost the 4-hour uptrend here. We've also respected that. We did not really get a strong reaction at levels where normally you get a pretty strong reaction. So for example, we had a single print right here. We got a reaction, but a weak one. We had a weak low right here and a naked point of control. Got a good reaction there, but weren't able to secure any type of reversal or any type of breakout. The volume during the selling has been decreasing, so I think that's a good thing. However, 4-hour time frame, we're bearish. Higher time frames, we're bullish, right? So on the 12-hour time frame, the trend is at 2.95. On the daily time frame, the trend is around 2.75. So short term, I would say it's most likely that we are going to continue dropping, especially if you take a look at Bitcoin, which is quite weak right now. I think that's fair to say, and I think that's I think it's good to be prepared for that as well. But ultimately, given that decreasing momentum at which the selling is happening, given the fact that XRP BTC, so relative strength of XRP against Bitcoin, is also becoming a bit better, I do think XRP is going to hold this level right here between 2.8 and 2.95. We have so much strong support there as well, outside of the factors I just named, that I do expect that to hold. So that's what I expect. I expect to drop down into that. Now, I already said yesterday that I thought it was a little bit more likely that XRP is going to get into a consolidation instead of a continuation of the uptrend. I still think that, right? So I think we're going to drop down into that. I think we're going to find support there. And I think we're going to consolidate, let's say, on top of 2.85. And then from that consolidation, first of all, we'll see again. But second of all, I think we have a good chance and I think we have a good shot at rallying again as well, right? Because on the daily time frames, on the 4-hour time frame, it looks quite bad. But on the daily time frame right here, like, this doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. I mean, we could very well just consolidate here and get some sort of a bullish flag and then a continuation up higher somewhere in September. But like I said, short term, medium term, I do think we'll find support, but I think we'll stay at a consolidation afterwards. But those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know for now. So if you do have any questions, anything, let me know. But for now, have a great rest of your week. Take care and bye.